This was a tweed-chub pattern fly, 11 feet deep, just about 1.7 miles an hour. I lost a really big fish here earlier in the morning, so hopefully we're going to land this one. We shall see. Howdy folks, Cal Kellogg here. I'm going to label this video Trout Talk. I just caught a really nice cutthroat trout. And as you know, I've caught tens of thousands of trout in my lifetime. And I thought I would just give my observations about the different species of trout that you find here in California that I've caught and kind of what to expect and what I think about them. Let's start with rainbows. Rainbows, they have a short lifespan. They rarely exceed 10 pounds. They fight really hard. They're very willing strikers, whether they're in a lake, a reservoir, a river, whatever. Rainbows are very user-friendly fish. They're willing to strike bait, lures, flies, a whole menu of stuff, and whenever you hook them, they put up a pretty robust fight, regardless if you're catching planters down at a Bay Area lake or you're catching wild trout up here in the mountains. If you hook a rainbow, typically going to get a pretty good fight out of the fish, and you're typically going to have some pretty good table fare if you decide to keep the fish. Planted trout, they're okay. Trout that come from bug lakes that have a lot of shrimp in them, places like Davis, Eagle, stuff like that. Table fare, second to none. Bright red meat, looks like salmon, tastes like salmon, excellent. Moving on, let's talk about browns. Now browns, a lot of guys think browns are smarter than rainbows, and they certainly present that way, but I don't think it's so much the intelligence of a brown. I think it's got to do with the lifespan of a brown. Browns live to be much older than rainbows, and once they get to 4 or 5 pounds, they spend their time eating very large forage items. 8 to 10 inch trout and kokanee, they eat those. They eat full-size crawfish, stuff like that. And you'll see the guys that trophy hunt for browns, they're the guys you see out on the lake. They have a ton of patience, and they pull nothing but big minnow plugs, because that's what big browns eat. They put in their time. It's a lot like sturgeon fishing, a lot of waiting, a lot of patience, punctuated with, just gut-wrenching excitement when you hook up. That's kind of my deal on browns. I don't think a brown fights as hard as a rainbow, and they're much less likely to jump than a rainbow. Cutthroats. Cutthroats, from a regional standpoint, they are the fish of the West. Anywhere west of the Rocky Mountains is cutthroat country. But, ironically, here in California, they're fairly rare. We have some lakes with cutthroats, and of course, right across the border, we have Pyramid Lake, which is the world's premier cutthroat fishery, where they regularly get fish over 20 pounds. But by and large, out here in California, cutthroats are fairly rare. I'm here at Jackson Meadows Reservoir. There is a cutthroat population in here, and it's really cool catching them. Having said that, the cutthroats I've caught typically disappoint me in terms of fighting ability. They're very willing strikers. They're like rainbows in that respect. They'll hit a big variety of offerings, but typically they're not going to put up the tussle. They're not going to put up the fight that a rainbow will. They probably fight about like a brown trout. They like to bulldog. They like to stay deep. They're not very likely to jump, but they are fun to catch. That brings us to our fourth type of trout that I'm going to discuss today, and that is the brook trout. I don't have any experience with big brook trout. I think the biggest brook trout I ever caught, a wild one, probably about a pound. There are very few places in California where you can catch wild brook trout that are over a pound. Now, you can go up in the Sierras, fish small streams, small lakes, fly gear, and you can catch a ton of brook trout anywhere from 3 to 9 inches long. But once you get, over about 9-10 inches, they become pretty rare. Contrast that with a place like Maine, where I look at some Maine trout fishing pages on Facebook, and those guys routinely catch 3, 4, 5 pound brook trout. We just don't have that here. I will say that I think the brook trout is the most beautiful of the 4 species of trout that I've caught, or that I commonly catch. Man, they got those red spots. They've got that iridescent blue around the spots. Just an incredibly beautiful fish. I haven't eaten many brook trout. The ones I have eaten are pretty much on par with rainbows. That's kind of my observations about trout. Rainbows, they fight the hardest. They're the most widespread here in California between planters, holdovers, wild fish, pen fish, fish dropped out of airplanes. They are our number one trout here in California. Browns, they're big, they're exciting, they're hard to catch. Cutthroats, they're big, they're exciting. They don't put up a ton of fight. But because they are kind of rare here in California, it's always pretty satisfying when you reel it in, you got a cutthroat at the end of your line. And of course the brook trout. Whenever I think about high Sierra camping, high Sierra backpacking, I think about brook trout. That's where they live in California. They're not big as a general rule, but they're beautiful, they're scrappy, and if you're backpacking, you want to cook some up, on the fire, they are pretty good to eat. They're as good as a rainbow, that's for sure. Anyway, just my thoughts. Your mileage may vary, but I thought since I did catch a cutthroat today, I thought I'd kind of throw out my observations about, trout and the trout fishing scene here in California. I didn't mention Mackinac, and that's a char, which a brook trout is too. But I didn't toss them out. And if I were to talk about Mackinac, I would have to say they're very good to eat. I've enjoyed eating Mackinac over the years, a variety of different ways, baked, barbecued, all that. But more or less, I've found Mackinac to be pretty disappointing fighters. You'll get one fish out of 15 or 20 that puts up a pretty savage fight, and I'm talking about the larger Mackinac. But most of the Macks you're going to catch, they're going to give up pretty easy. They're going to make one decent run, and then they're going to come to the boat. And I've heard guys describe the fight of a Mackinac like this. They say, at first it feels like a fish, and then it feels like you've hooked an old paper bag. Which I have to agree with that. I've caught a couple Mackinac, big Mackinac, that put up wicked fights, but by and large, there's not a lot going on there. So anyway, once again, those are my observations. Your mileage may vary, and nothing's absolute. You might catch a cutthroat that goes airborne, goes crazy, and puts up a fight that puts a sailfish to shame. I don't know. But anyway, if you haven't had a chance to subscribe, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. You'll always know when I'm on here talking about trout or whatever. And I got a fish on a trolling fly right now, so I got to go. That's a nice fish. All right, guys, Kel Kellogg here. I am signing off. I'll catch you next time right here on YouTube. I got to try to put this one in the kayak, baby. This was a two-chub pattern fly, 11 feet deep, just about 1.7 miles an hour. I lost a really big fish here earlier in the morning, so hopefully we're going to land this one. We shall see. Got my second lead core rod out. I've been losing some fish today, just bad luck. Getting close, I'm into that top shot. Oh yeah. Whoa. Some wild head shaking there. There we go. Woo! Nice rainbow. Beauty. Woo! He came off the hook too. That's awesome. Kayak moving forward again. Man, that's a nice rainbow. I'll show you the fish in a second. Let me, there's that two chub pattern fly. Get rid of that. Let's get this fish back in the water here. I'll hold him up real quick. Whoa. Easy there. Easy there, tiger. Look at that beautiful rainbow. That's what trolling flies can do, baby. Nice fish. Here he comes. Oh yeah! FishHuntShoot.com offers a variety of tackle as well as rods and reels designed to get you on more and bigger fish. Check it out today at FishHuntShoot.com.